So I'm back. We're just going to flow with it and go with it. Happy Libra season, everybody. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dove Diaz. I run the channel called Dove's Visions, where both art and divination are intersect together. I just started this, I just started the foundation of this channel, and of course, why, would I call myself an art and divination channel when I haven't even shared my art yet? Well, I mean, other than this piece, but that's just like a speck of everything that I create. But the reason why is that I want to talk about something important that actually may resonate with this whole reading, especially due to the fact that what the hell happened. Okay, you know what the hell happened since the past Virgo season. We haven't even finished this season yet. I mean, as I'm recording this, it's still Virgo season. It's not Libra season. And so let's get to it. So yes, if you're new, my channel is a space where clarity, growth, and expansion, and it's the heart of this channel. Of course, I love creating just as much as I love divination, but since I am launching this, especially forward for the rest of my life, I want to consider how I plant the seed of my business to where I exactly want to start, how the foundation of the people who, come across my channel, that's the initial point of where it all starts. I want it to be through divination, but deeper than that, I want it to be through my relationship with what people would say the relationship with God, or the relationship with Allah, or Chi, or source, or spirit, or the universe. For me is awareness. I want to make that the foundation of how I get onto this platform, because with good intentions as well. I would love, and I love that I'm starting this channel off with this type of foundation. And every time I think about the fact that that's how I started, I keep on thanking the absolute. I keep on thanking awareness. I keep on thanking God for literally leading me to this point of my path, because I could have been on, and not just on, I could have continued to be consistently on so many of these other times, but it didn't happen. Something always comes up. But now as time passes by, I understand why exactly I meant to flow from those points before, because there was something in my gut that is telling me, and it's not like I'm holding myself back or anything, saying like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't go on, or whatsoever. That's not it. It's more like before I ever get on, and before this platform takes off to wherever the hell it takes off, my intention is to plant the seed of this business with people knowing first and foremost that how I started this channel is through my connection with God in my own way, through the absolute, through awareness, through God overall, through spirit, I would say. I feel like it fits more with my indigenous spirit. It makes me so grateful every single freaking day that that's how I started my path, my official path, my I don't even want to say my official path, as if the past paths that led me to this path was never the path. They were always paths, but it's meant to always lead me to the best dimension of all dimensions in my life, because clearly, evidently, no matter how much pain I've been through in my life, that's what I wanted. That's what I want deep. And thank God I have that deep. And after all those years of believing that deep down inside my freaking heart. And so, yeah, welcome to my channel. I read the energies according to the overall energies, I would say, intertwined with astrological transits through 4 divination techniques. The first one is Tarot. The second one is the I Ching. The third one is what we're doing right now, which is Biblomancy. And the fourth one would be astrology. And so, yeah. And for my art, however, that seed, it's like it's one thing to plant this seed, the whole entire Dove's Visions platform, but it's a whole other freaking thing to plant the seeds for my art. And you may not understand why. Okay, you may not absolutely at all understand why. But when you come back and you look at this, you're going to be like, like, yeah, that is why. That is why I'm not only taking the path of how I execute my visions, but how I bring my visions to the public. How I bring my visions to people who connect and desire my work. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil it anymore. So that's pretty much what Dove's Visions is. And now we're on to the Biblomancy reading now. I don't know what else to say other than that. Before we continue, maybe I'll just start up by saying, if you feel like you're called to be in this space energetically with me, you're at the right place at the right time. And in fact, let me just say this. You are always at the right place, and you are always at the right time if you choose to assume so. So, let's get to it. So, let's talk about the mood of this entire energy, the entire season. Now, here's how I like to work with the astrological transits, besides working with the divination tools, and besides working with the energies. I'm obsessed with astrology, first off. I love astrology. It's being autistic and everything, like, that is a huge obsession of mine. And it's deeper than, oh, this sign, that sign, this sign, that sign, like, it's deeper than the signs. It's deeper than the planets. It's deeper than even the transits. It's deeper than the aspects. It's deeper than the degrees. It's deeper than the orbs. It's what energetically creates a picture through those transits that, even if you have no idea what the hell is going on, you might look back and you might literally, because what I do here is that I like to read energetically and with consideration of the astrological transits, whether I know it or not. I know that usually, like, the sun signs and the moon signs, I always am connected to those, but there are times where there are other planets that are connected to those energies of the season. and even continuing on to the next season, and then the next season. And then afterwards, I'm just like, I lost my thought. I think this season, let me just say this. I feel like the mood is that I think if you're getting to the point where you're at that state where, you're so, passionate about getting something done or doing something or whatsoever, but then you're feeling like you just kind of forget midway like what you were like inspired by, because I don't know, it's like the moment that I just had right now. Like if you're having that experience, stillness. Stillness. It's okay. It's okay. Like if I can hold your damn hand, like I'm gonna hold your damn hand, okay? Let me okay. You feel me? Like you are okay. You are okay. You are okay. Your reality is not the one that I'm telling you, especially when you continue to hold on to the assumption that you are living in the best dimension of all dimensions. The what's going on with the external world, like prominently online, it's not like that for every other person's story, especially after the solar eclipse. So I don't know why. Okay, actually, okay, yeah, it's back. So as I was gonna say, the mood is like you gotta take breaks in between, but also like there's something that you could be passionate about, but if you get too caught up in it, like your brain is gonna have no choice, like the phone, like the cell phone is gonna have no choice out of your own actions unless you quickly tend as soon as possible to start recharging yourself. Your body's gonna, your body's just like, wah, not gonna do anything else. Recharge me. So, that's really what it is. And it's so interesting how I'm talking about recharging and whatsoever, noting the tower and the Wheel of Fortune aspect of things. So yeah, the mood has been that so far. If there's anything else I want to expand from that portion, I will. If not, then you'll see me continue from here. Also, the mood is that, like, I don't know about you, but for some reason, especially for the past, like, more than a couple of days, my body not only has been waking me up early, regardless of the amount of hours I slept, but my body will not let me go back to sleep. My body will not let me go back to sleep, especially after waking up in the morning. So if that's you, I think a part of me can intuitively, ooh, that's how you know. That's how you know. Oh my gosh. Do you see that? The lights just went off. All right. Hold on. All right. I'm going to be back and then we'll go from there. For some reason, the light is out, so I'll be back. Oh my God. This is... Good thing I got this. I would take it out, but for some reason it's not coming fucking out. Okay, there you go. You know what? Maybe the reading experience is still there. I was just talking about charging, and the battery just went out. You know what? Maybe there is a reason why I still choose to record this moment, because, I was gonna, say I'll be back, and then that's when I was gonna cut the rest of this clip, right? But now I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I was just talking about it. So that's a confirmation. I swear on my life, I saw the battery and it was full. It was like, no, I was like 3/4 full. So maybe in your perception currently, you think that your energy is full, or like, especially if you completely like are in an imbalanced state, especially knowing that, oh Jesus, especially knowing, sorry, that was my phone up there, especially knowing that because this is Virgo season to Libra season, right? There's still going to be that tendency for you to subconsciously put others and other things first before you. But I'm telling you, you can do that, but still put yourself first. You can do all of that and still put yourself first. And if that's gonna, maybe break a soul or two because you need to have some rest one of the days and you can't really have the energy to or the spoons, I would say the spoons to give in terms of that, then yeah, don't overextend yourself. That's exactly what I was saying. Don't assume that you are also not overextending yourself either. That's why mindfulness, there's a huge encouragement of being mindful. Okay, so I'm going to charge this, but yeah, isn't it interesting? And also maybe the other message is that even if your battery is like low and shit shuts off and you're just like, damn, oh like I was just gonna continue whatsoever. Well, unless you have no other solutions and whatsoever, there's always going to be a solution out there in the end of the day. It doesn't matter if I don't have the charging cables, I'm okay with looking like a washed out person. I'm okay with looking washed out if it means getting my message across, for crying aloud. God. Now, I just wanna be part of your. I just wanna be part of your symphony. And you hold me tight and don't let go. Symphony. Also, I'm sorry, but I have to give a shout out. Okay, the lights are back, but I have to give a freaking shout out to Zara Larsson, girl. I had zero idea who she is until I searched her. Well, and it was the first on X, like when everybody's like sharing her track list. I was like, oh damn! And then I see her hanging around with Tyler at like one of the awards shows. She looks incredible, and I see her freaking videos of her in performing in her. I don't know if it's in her own concert or if it's if she's on tour with somebody. But my God, I was like, I need to know who this girl is. And so I looked her up, and shout out to Gen Z first off. Second off, shout out to the Sagittariuses. Third off, I'm sorry, Libras. I don't mean to do that for your season where I'm giving a shout out to the Sagittariuses first, but I'm just going to say this. Especially the Sagittariuses who honed their power to the ultimate. It's people like Zara Larsson who we can literally learn from when it comes to standing firm in our boundaries, especially when there are times when we don't know better. I've read her energy in my reading, and it makes sense, and you can really tell which artist out there really loves and genuinely loves and cares not just about their fans, but humanity, because as you care about humanity. Sorry, I don't even mean to say the F word like that again. As you should care about humanity, it should be a non-negotiable in a person's human spirit to not want destruction over another for the person to benefit. Whoever this person is, whoever the group of people are, to benefit whatever they want, while the people they are using are at their detriment because of it. And shout out to her. She is a solid example. And I want, if you have the time, search her up on Wikipedia, because I searched her up on Wikipedia and I'm like, wow, like green flag. There's something about green flags here. I think that it's not that we have to up our bullshit detector, but we really got to stand firm in our boundaries. And I'm telling you, if you stand firm in your boundaries, you're going to attract people who are like that too, and who are actually dope, to the point where you're going to be like, wait, who are those dusty people? who are those people? Who are the people that, like, that didn't treat me as fairly as they treat their colleagues or whatever the hell? Oh, anyways, I realize I have to plug this in as well. You see what I mean about the charging? You really gotta stay mindful. Oh, there you go. You just gotta stay mindful of the moments when you start to feel like you're depleting your energy. Balance is the key. Balance is the key. Balance. And speaking of balance, now we are going to talk about what book we're using. So, and this is the perfect time, because it's not just a great shift to read this book from since the last technique, which is the I Ching. I kid you not, this book I actually brought with me on my vacation, on my trip. So this happened, before, I think it was definitely before September the 6th. It was actually since the beginning of September when I was looking at that book a lot. And it was I was contemplating already how much I feel called. I felt the strong calling to read this book, because I felt whether that energy that I assumed was going to take place earlier, if I did a bibliomancy reading with this book way earlier on, whether it's resonant for that timeline or for the timeline of what I'm reading for, which is Libra season, at the end of the day, it is relevant to the current state of this world. And so I'm going to share to you a book that we're going to be using for the bibliomancy reading, written by my one of my favorite authors of all freaking time. One of the best mentors that I have ever involved in my journey on a spiritual level. Not that I know him personally, but I was introduced to him 10 years ago. And he means so freaking much. Like, I could cry. I could. But we gotta do this reading. Oh my god, but like, anyways, we're gonna start the reading at this point. We are going to be reading right here, this book. Let me just, ooh. Okay, I'm back. So this is our book we're going to be reading. It is by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it is called Creating True Peace. And the headline is very fitting, right? Ending violence in yourself, your family, your community, and the world. This is why I have to let you know of this. I didn't just choose this book and know that, like, know about what happened to Sir Kirk. I didn't know what was gonna happen in Bangladesh. Okay, I didn't know any of this stuff. I'm just reading for the collective. But as I read for the collective, for you especially who is watching this, I will do my very best to read with the intention that this will still go so well at the end of the day, as long as we choose the pattern of behavior, like what was talked about in the I Ching, which is pattern behavior that not just benefits us, but benefits others. It coexists beautifully with other people, which is why, what else could it be other than peace? Look, this is the first time I did this reading I'm doing this reading for other people. I've done readings for myself, for questions like, what would they like me to know? What would they absolutely like me to know? So I'm going to be doing this, but this time this will be not just for me, but also for the collective, especially since that's who I'm reading it for. So before we start, we're gonna set the energy, set the mood, affirm, and then we'll go from there. Absolute, thank you so much. Let's go down here. Absolute, thank you so much for bringing us all here today, regardless of what is going on in the world right now. I am so grateful, Absolute, of how big and wide that you're leaving those portals open for anybody, even those who, whether they know it or not, are lacking awareness in certain areas of their life, like, especially that hurts others. It's not just themselves, it's more emphasized to others. You are giving them a huge opportunity in a portal to think for themselves, to discern for themselves, to make their own path of what is written for them in their lives, especially in terms of their version of the best dimension of all dimensions. And not just their version, but the overall version of the best dimension of all dimensions. Thank you for being present, even in these very hard, controversial times. That's right, chicken. That's right. Thank you so much for weaving through us the heightened awareness that we should absolutely be called to discuss upon, especially online. Thank you so much, Absolute. May whatever action we take, especially for this Libra season, may it be bringing, actually no, I affirm it's bringing blessings from places that you would never expect. And not just in the mindset of awareness. That's not just a relationship with yourself. It's not just a relationship with others, but the gifts that come with it. Since Venus and Libra are energetically harmonious with each other, since Libra is one of Venus's signs. Thank you. Thank you, awareness. May this reading only lead us towards the best dimension of all dimensions, and whatever it is that you want us all to be aware of, especially for Libra's season of 2025, make it known. In the name of the Absolute, of God, of awareness, of spirit, of Allah, of Chi. So it is. And so it is. Now, let's get started. Absolute, what would you like us to know? Okay, let me just do it this way. Let me just flatten the book on its sides. Absolute, what would you like us to know according to the energies of this Libra season? What would you like us to be aware of, Absolute? Let me just show here. Absolute, what would you like us to be aware of according to the energies of Libra season 2025? Absolute, what would you like us to know? What would you like us to know? What would you like us to be aware of? See? Here we are. Hello. Okay, so I thought I um give an update about something. So you know how I said um that where my thumb was pointing towards, it actually is like um the main message that spirit wants us to know the most. So, as you have seen from the clip, it's very interesting because I wasn't even looking at the book when I was, finally checking it. I really was just like not looking. And then afterwards, I don't know what happened, but I looked down and in my perception, it seemed to be that was one phrase, but actually my thumb landed on the phrase below that other phrase. So I'm going to open the page I opened to. So when I said that the main message was so what I thought, you know, okay, first off, just to be aware, to bring awareness of everything, that message is just as relevant as the message that my thumb initially was hovering over, right? Doesn't matter. Let me just take off my glasses. It doesn't matter, okay? It just does not matter. It's still the message regardless. So that especially is for us and whoever is watching this video as well. Um, but in terms of the collective message, I think it's fair to first bring that up before I bring up the other message that consciously is meant for the audience and even for myself. But the overall collective message is is for everyone else other than us. And this was exactly the message that came through. Okay? Literally this whole paragraph, but especially the first two lines, okay? It's it's actually really freaking diabolical because I didn't even see it coming. And I saw it with my own eyes. You saw it with your own eyes. My thumb was on that paragraph. So I'm going to read it to you because I think it's very appropriate to disclose that first, even though I am going to read it later on. I Now that I'm made aware while it was editing, I might as well say it now. So, hi chicken. Okay. So the chicken is participating. So that's another confirmation too, I guess. So let's get into it. In schools, in Congress, in city halls, in state houses, we need people capable of practicing deep listening and loving speech. To have Okay, now it's starting to get extra diabolical here because as I was saying and speaking, when I said the first two sentences, I accidentally made the second sentence, like I accidentally read the third sentence as the second sentence. So I said the two sentences that are most important to be noted, which is still should be important to be noted and highlighted. Those two sentences are still the sentences, but I actually skipped the sentence. So I'm just like, what? What's going on? What is going on? So I'm going to read that sentence
as I read the first part of the sentence. So, like what I said, in schools and Congress and city halls and state houses, we need people capable of practicing deep listening and loving speech, right? But what I missed was when I said, unfortunately, many of us lost that capacity. But for some reason, chicken, please don't drink my water. Now I gotta have to replace it. But but maybe this is something to take in with clarity, that there is evidently hope, because I never would have a moment like this where I miss a line. Um Literally, I miss a sentence, a line, not miss a line, okay? Let's not get those two confused. I missed a line in the sentence. Rarely that ever happens, but I did. But that is very telling, because if I highlighted that the first sentence and the third sentence that I'm going to continue off with are so important, that means there isn't a significance of that energy. That is the whole unfortunate situation that many of us has lost this capacity to deeply listen and speak to each other with love. In fact, that highlights that there is a huge possibility of the opposite of that. There's a huge possibility of the opposite of losing that capacity to be either to be both those like energies to people and even to yourself. The possibilities are pretty high, which is amazing. And that is good news. So I thought I'd insert myself again saying that. Okay, let's continue now. To have peace, we must first have understanding, and understanding is not possible without gentle, loving communication. Therefore, restoring communication is an essential practice for peace, not communication. Restoring communication is an essential practice for peace. Communication is the foundation, the flowering of our practice of non-violence. I'm telling you, look, I didn't even see that coming either until I edited the video. I was like, wait a minute, that wasn't the line that my thumb was hovering the whole time before I checked the book. And for some reason, my thumb was hovering over the whole other line, which was what I'm going to say after. But this line in particular is insanely not just relevant with everything that's going on around the world, it is a message for every single person, everyone, even those who have not watched my video at all. Okay? So, and especially who are not in this realm of what we get into here in this channel. So, anyways, I thought I'd let you know of this because that was mind blowing to me. Like, that was really mind blowing. So, I thought I'd give an update and let's continue.
This is interesting. So you know what I'm going to do for this first part of the bibliomancy is read the it could be a sentence or two sentences, wherever my thumb is laid upon, okay? I will read that portion first, and then afterwards I will get to the rest of the chapter, unless there are other elements that I feel called to also read as well. So this is where my thumb was. So you saw how I was flipping the pages, and my thumb is still there, okay? So let's see what this says. The person who practices loving speech and deep listening is practicing peace. He or she opens the door for understanding, peace, and reconciliation to enter our hearts, our families, and our society. Didn't I just talk about the portal? And, you know, we have to be really grateful. Like, as messed up as these times are right now, we have to be very grateful for the opportunity that we have on a technological level to expand our awareness. But if we're going to do that, we can't misuse that or how do I say this? Or lack the structure of sharing that type of information. Let's say, like, for example, if you're going to share like a reel from TikTok or whatsoever about some facts of like information that you absolutely know is true and that there's receipts for it, but you know, you're sharing it, you want to share it to your social media, share that thing, but link the sources. Don't just link the source of the TikTok. Link the sources of what research was done on, whether it be as a link or as a file, whatever you feel called to, because we need to get back to the energy of, I don't know if it's called footnotes or something. We need to get back to the energy of like not just sharing facts and not just sharing what we must all be aware of and expand our minds about. We must also include receipts. And I don't care if it's going to take extra steps. I'm sorry. I don't care. But if you really want the truth to go out and come out in the most solid manner, I would absolutely suggest you include resources and links to resources. Even, I mean, I would say images of the resources that can be links as well, but it would just be better for the sake of misinformation to actually share the links. Don't ask why this is coming through. I didn't even expect this message to come through first thing. Okay? So we're starting off with this energy of the person who practices loving speech not just with love in general, but with awareness and deep listening, such as accountability and the depthness of accountability and the core of like, and the core of it, it is practicing peace. You are practicing peace if you live a life practicing, not just practicing, being loving speech, being a deep listener. Because there's something about this season where it will take you so freaking far. You really have no freaking idea. You have no freaking idea. This is a Venus season too. You have no idea. I know Venus represents like war on some like level, based on like what people have talked about in terms of what Venus represents for the past many years, but it's also money. It is also abundance. Again, it is also beauty. Okay? It is, you know, we all have the power to wield the energy of this world the way we can choose to assume so. We have the power, we have at least as much control as the energy that we hold within ourselves in terms of how we navigate our day-to-day life. And so the idea of that and is such, there's already such an importance and emphasized from the universe, from the absolute, from spirit, that if you want peace to follow through, if you want if you want excitement, well, if you want excitement to be infused with peace, first off, be in the state as if you already, like, as if, you know, anyways, you already know. Be in the state as if you already have everything that you desire, the wish fulfilled, the state of the wish fulfilled. If you want to have peace rather than anxiety, because this anxiety energy is trying to come in again, and it's trying to come in again, whether it be through the destabilization of faith, whether it be through keeping up with things and keeping up with responsibilities, whether it be anything else that could easily trigger anxiety. As long as you live in loving speech, even if it's to you and yourself, especially for people in the law of assumption community, this is a good month to, play those subliminals that, especially your own, because I think it's very important, especially if this is your own voice. Anything that you want to say to yourself with so much love. And even if it's a subliminal made with the aspect of love, but it's made in a way that there's so much conviction in your heart that helps you, that's going to help you as well. Because deep listening and loving speech is together as well. But I do want to say, though, that, to have that peace in your heart through the excitement that's going on in your life, how you speak not just to yourself, but to others, since this is Libra, the scales, partnerships, co-workers, etc., the seventh house, and even because the seventh house is also the house of enemies. Okay, the seventh house is also the house of enemies. So it doesn't matter who, okay? Even if it's somebody you don't like, okay? Even if it doesn't have to be somebody you don't like. It could be somebody that you are okay with, or that you have no problem with as a person, but their beliefs are what challenges you to connect with the person. I'm not saying you have to give all your spoons of loving energy to all these people, and this is where balance is required. But this is this time and space where we can really shift the energetic climate of this planet if we choose to approach having these very deep conversations with each other, with people whatsoever. If we have the intention of speaking with each other, to each other with love, and like on a heightened awareness sort of level with love, because awareness of course has to be present in debates and in discussions and all that stuff, but there has to be love in there, because where would respect be in the conversation? Where would integrity be in the conversation? Where would all these very important things that, that must be included in the experience of having these really needed conversations? It's not just the on the surface things, it's the things that people online are starting to begin to see below the surface now. Like, we've seen the iceberg, we've seen it from afar, and that was 30 years ago with Saturn Pisces. 30 years later, we're up close. But starting from this 30-year point to now, we are going to experience seeing the rest of that iceberg from below. Until when 30 years, until 30 years pass, and I'm not sure from which year exactly. I know it's going to be my Saturn return. I'm like, girl, it's okay though. I mean, maybe this is for somebody who's going through their Saturn return as well. Yeah, this is a very, there's something about the iceberg energy where we're now starting to finally see the rest of the iceberg. We're starting to now see and begin to start seeing the rest of the iceberg from the water, in the ocean, the same ocean where we don't have all the answers about to this freaking day. To this freaking day. Now, I'm keeping my eye on the time right now, so let's get to the actual chapter and what it's called. Okay? So this is where we're gonna end here. But this is actually very interesting. This is also confirmation as well. Especially, but since this is a whole portion that we're gonna read, whatever this is called in whatever section it is, take this as a bonus message as well. Transforming your suffering. To help befriend and embrace painful emotions, you may like to try the following meditations. And again, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl. But sometimes the most painful emotions you're going through in your life, like I'm not affirming that for myself, okay? Like I'm this season, especially this Virgo season, there was a lot that, especially on a 12th house level, since Jupiter is transiting through my 12th house, there's so much painful emotions that came up. There's so much painful emotions that is hard to choose to reconnect with if it does come by to your mind, or it's so deep down in the surface that like you didn't even realize that happened until something comes up. And I love how my chicken is actually communicating about this. But I'm just letting you know, if you need to embrace your painful emotions, whatever it is, if you need to get deep to the surface, like what I said, sit in silence, not to empty your mind, but to allow what thoughts are coming through first, even if they are irrelevant. I don't care. I almost said the F word again. Okay? Now, let's see what this chapter is called, or this portion of the page. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. And ironic enough, there is a meditation for compassionate listening. So if you want to take a screen cap, here you go. 3, 2, 1. Now, let's get to the actual title. We have to read it. So I'm going to read it. I have it with me. I would use my iPhone to show the camera, but we're not going to do that because, this is inspired action, okay? This is not forced action. Okay, so let's start. Meditation for compassionate listening. This is the last part of the message. And take that which you will, or take whatever it is that from that energetically resonates with you the most. Okay? Take whatever it is that you energetically feel that you resonate the most with right now. Okay? But this is I think this is such a significant part of the entire message for Libra season. So let's go. 1. So there's 12 lines, okay? That's ironic, right? 12 lines, 12 seasons, you name it, okay? 1. Breathing in. I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Calm, smile. Breathing in, I know I have suffered. Breathing out, I smile with compassion. My suffering compassionate smile. Breathing in, I know you have suffered. Breathing out, I smile with compassion. Your suffering, compassionate smile. Breathing in, I know we both suffer. Breathing out, I want us both to have a new chance. Our suffering, a new chance. Breathing in, I listen. Breathing out, I hear. Listening, hearing. Breathing in, I hear your bitterness. Breathing out, I embrace you in my heart. Bitterness, embrace you. Breathing in, I hear your wrong perception. Breathing out, I do not burn with anger. Wrong perception, not burning. Breathing in, I know I have made you suffer. Breathing out, I am sorry. You suffered, I am sorry. Breathing in, I open my heart. Breathing out, in my heart, there is room for you. Opening my heart, room for you. Breathing in, I want to be happy. Breathing out, I want you to be happy. My happiness, your happiness. And number 12, breathing in, I see us happy. Breathing out, and this is part for me. Breathing out, that is all I want. Our happiness is all I want. Take whatever download came through for you that connects with that entire meditation, because I kid you not, that whole message was so deep that I think every single person, especially those who, it could be anybody really, before, you interact with other people, whether they, because first off, nobody is ever going to fully align with your views. Let's just be 100% real. But you can meet at the same vibration even though your beliefs don't fully align with each other. You know what I mean? Your beliefs don't fully align with each other, but you could still be in the space of being, not just human. They could still meet at the frequency that you are at, if that's what you're concerned about. They could still be meeting you at the frequency where you are at. Especially when your frequency has been expanding, elevating, you name it. Now, I'm just going to close from there. Thank you so much again for checking out my channel. If you'd like to keep up with me, go ahead and subscribe. If you'd like to share this video for the sake of somebody else to get the message, like this video and share it as well. If you feel called to make a comment on the channel, on the video, well, you could do it on the channel too, but if that is the case, if there's comments that you want to leave down there, especially for somebody else who may need to hear it, or to, whether it be your thoughts about certain portions of what I said, or maybe even answering the pinned comment that I will be leaving down below from this video. So yeah, other than that, and hit the notification bell as well if you'd like to keep up with me from there. All right. I knew this was gonna happen. Oh my God. So pretty much the actual like subtitle or headline for this part of the page is called Speaking and Listening with Compassion. Speaking and listening with compassion. So I'm going to read the whole thing and then I'll reflect on my thoughts, and then that's when we will close from there, okay? So, today, communication between individuals, families, and nations has become very difficult. However, there are concrete ways to train ourselves to communicate non-violently so that compassion for one another is awakened and mutual understanding becomes possible again. Speaking and listening with compassion are the essential practices of nonviolent communication. Oops. Again with the freaking spoilers. Anyways. Mindful communication means to be aware of what we are saying and to use conscious, loving speech. It also means listening deeply to the other person to hear what is being said and what is not being said. We can use these methods in any situation at any time, wherever we are. For our body to be healthy, our heart must pump a constant flow of blood. For our relationships, Libra season, to be healthy, we need a constant flow of mindful communication. Yet many people find it difficult to communicate effectively because they have so much frustration and anger build up inside. Even when we come to another person with sincere goodwill and the intention to listen, if we are unable to use calm, loving speech, there is no hope that the other person will hear us. This is important. Let me just say this again. Even when we come to another person with sincere and goodwill and the intention to listen, if we are unable to use what? Calm, loving speech, there is no hope that the other person will hear us and understand what we are trying to say. We may intend to use calm and loving speech, but often as we start speaking, our pain, despair, and fear emerge. In spite of our best intentions, we start to blame, complain, and judge harshly. Our speech begins to reverberate with the kind of energy that turns people against us because they cannot bear to hear what we are saying. Communication breaks down. When this happens, we need to learn or to relearn how to communicate. How then do we reach the point where we are able to listen deeply to one another and to use loving speech? To do this, we first have to practice taking care of our own pain and anger. We first have to practice taking care of our own pain, taking care of our own pain and anger, not other people's pain and anger. And especially when you are the one speaking about when you need to speak about, you feel called to, but the calmness is not coming through because you're feeling these feelings that are within you, and that's nothing, you have to take care of that first. If this means that you are the person to not just listen deeply to another person or even yourself, but to speak with love. By practicing mindful breathing and mindful walking, oh, this is a message for somebody. By practicing mindful breathing and mindful walking, we strengthen the energy of mindfulness within us. We may need to practice and train ourselves. Oh my God, this is a message. This is a timeline message. We may need to practice and train ourselves for several weeks or even several months before we can overcome our pain and use loving speech. We may, though. We may. It depends on your current state of being right now. When our mindfulness is strong, it is much easier to look deeply into a situation and to give rise to understanding and compassion. With the energy of mindfulness, we can overcome our pain and use loving speech. The same is true about our ability to listen deeply. If we have not been able to embrace and transform our own hurt and anger, it will be difficult to listen to another person's suffering, especially if the other person's speech is full of negative judgments, misperceptions, and blaming. In our heart, we know that listening is what we should do. And no doubt we have often tried our best, yet frequently, after a few minutes, we no longer can bear to listen to even one more word. We feel overwhelmed, even though we have vowed that, regardless of the provocations, or unjust assertions, we would stay and listen with compassion. We just cannot do it. Our good intentions evaporate because we are unable to handle the pain welling up that people may know or especially not know within themselves, because we are unable to handle the pain welling up within ourselves. Yet if we can prevail and listen for only 1 hour, this is a very specific message as well. Oh my God, and when I opened I saw this video link. Let me just, but this notification, I just saw it and it says, listen overnight to wake up light years ahead. Maybe this is somebody who's also in the law of assumption community, and the whole 1 hour thing, there are subliminals or things that you can listen to for an hour. Like that's definitely your message, but it could be somebody else's as well. But again, there's this very specific messages on specific type of timelines from weeks to months to hours. Okay. So yet, if we can prevail and listen for only 1 hour, the other person will obtain a great deal of relief. Listening with an open heart, we are able to keep compassion alive. Then we give the other person a real chance to express his or her feelings. Such listening requires training and practice, along with the practices of mindful breathing and mindful walking. Or I would say mindful living and mindful being. Living being breathing and being walking. The following meditation can help transform the seeds of anger and irritation in us and allow us to open our hearts to listen with love and compassion to the other person. I just talked about the power of having the anger within you and transmuting that. If this message is relative, like if you need to go back, it's from the last Ching video. Go check it out, okay? Now, again, if you feel called to take a screenshot of that, feel free. Personally, I would prefer that you read it for yourself, without me reading it for you, because I think just taking in the meditation for compassionate listening and everything that is written down is going to hit very deeply, especially after everything that I mentioned. So let's continue. At least, oh my gosh, this is so specific. Oh my gosh. Okay. At least one person in every family should be capable of loving communication. It can be a brother, sister, father, or mother. Is there someone in your family who can embody this kind of practice? Someone who can help other family members practice deep listening and loving speech? Can you be this person? Can you be this person with your friends in your church, synagogue, sangha, or community, or where you work? Perhaps there is a teacher in your child's school. This is a very specific message. Perhaps there is a teacher in your child's school who listens with compassion and speaks without anger or judgment. The person who practices loving speech and deep listening is practicing peace. Wow, we're back again to this point now. He or she opens the door for understanding, peace, and reconciliation to enter our hearts, our families, and our society. Opens the door for confusion to go out, for anxiety to go out, and for stubbornness to go out. Okay? And instead, opening the door for understanding, peace, and reconciliation to enter our hearts, our families, and our society. Let's continue. In schools, in Congress, in city halls. Oh my gosh, this is getting really... Look, I just flipped to the page. I did not mean to make this a reading about this, but here we are. The absolute is really making it known, so let's go. In schools, in Congress, in city halls, in state houses, we need people capable of practicing deep listening and loving speech. Unfortunately, many of us have lost this capacity. To have peace, we must first have understanding. And understanding is not possible without gentle, loving communication. Therefore, restoring communication is an essential practice for peace. Communication is the foundation, the flowering of our practice of nonviolence. That's Libra coded right there. Communication is the foundation, the flowering of our practice of nonviolence. The practice of mindful communication can also help us teach our children how to protect themselves. Oh my God, what's happening? Now we're bringing in the children? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Like first the state, the Congress, the family, the friends, the church, the synagogue, the sangha, now the communities, now the kids? This is a season where it's not just about you. This is about everybody involved, everybody that you can think of right now, okay? Whew. The practice of mindful communication can also help us teach our children how to protect themselves and at the same time show them our faith in them. We can say, my child, you will suffer if you speak in this way. This is anybody who knows the law of assumption, you know, or laws of the universe. And that is why you should be careful. And by saying that, our children will understand. Trust in your children's wisdom or a child's wisdom. Doesn't matter what state they're in. Okay? Because let me just be real. Maybe it matters if this is an adult because they already have fully, completely developed in their brain and everything else. But there's something about a child and what they can teach us, whether they are aware or not, whether they are considered good or not, whether they do wrong or not. It's very relevant also to the previous reading too. Especially since they're in the development stage, and the 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 child inner child self is still activated, not just internally but through their physical hapsuits. There's something about the aspect of trusting in the wisdom of kids and children and becoming the person to set a good example. There's something about that message. Anyways, if we as parents listen, okay, this is definitely for parents too. If we as parents listen and speak mindfully, our children they will learn to do the same. They will learn to do the same. If we smoke, our children will smoke. If we drink alcohol, our children will also drink alcohol. If we talk and act violently, our children will likewise learn to be violent. We each have the responsibility to show the way of non-violence, the way of compassion. We have to teach others by our way of living, not just by our words. If you do not know how to handle the anger and violence in yourself, even the emotional instability, but most especially the anger and violence in yourself, it is impossible to help someone else, even your own child. Nonviolent action can be born only from nonviolent living. When we see someone, this is actually very, you know what? No, I'm going to say it again. This is a very, very important sentence that is really relevant, whether I know it or not right now. Nonviolent action can be born only from nonviolent living. When we see someone, especially a child, say or do something that is not to our liking, we become easily irritated. If our understanding and compassion are not strong enough to protect us, we will allow that person's behavior to provoke the seed of irritation within us. Consequently, what we say or do may be violent physically or emotionally. Get the word emotionally, okay? When you are irritated, I'm not gonna lie. Look, I'm calling. This is a message for me too, okay? This is not just for other people. This is for me too. So when I read this, I'm considering me too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front, okay? When you are irritated with someone else or with your child, you are not in a position to help or to teach him or them. Why does it say him? That's a message. At the same time, you have to refrain from saying or doing anything. Instead, please practice mindful walking, mindful being, mindful living, mindful existing, aka mindful walking, mindful smiling, and mindful breathing. And your peace and calm will be restored. It's not just walking, it's not just smiling, it's not just breathing, but the mindfulness of doing all those things on a day-to-day basis. Your peace and calm will be restored. And that calm will what? It will open the doors to be a deep listener for other people and with other people who talk and share their stories with you, while you are also in the position of being loving in how you communicate to them, whether they align with your views or not. Okay? Now, when your calm has been restored, you will find the best way to approach the other person or your child and help her avoid doing or saying harmful things in the future. When you are lucid enough, you will not blame. Oh my God, we're getting back to Qua 21 right now. Okay? When you are lucid enough, you will not blame or punish, but will handle the situation with love and understanding. This is taking good care of the seeds of anger and violence within you. We all have the right to suffer, but none of us has the right not to practice. Our responsibility as humans is to transform our suffering in order to transform the suffering of those around us. And then that's where we meet with transforming your suffering. Wow. What a word. What a word. Everything that I pointed out, like especially from the previous Ching reading, go check it out. That is so insanely relevant. The thing I'm really surprised about the most from picking out this page, or well, the absolute leading me to choosing this page, especially the highlight of like the sentence of what is the most relevant part of the message. I just find it so interesting how specified this message is, not just to you, but to your community, to the school, to your school or whatever, your family, the church you go to, spiritual gatherings you go to, the state, the Congress, the governments, it didn't mention government though, but Congress really, it is connected to it regardless. So, whether you like it or not, they're involved too. So I'm just saying. And it went into depth about kids, and then I did not choose for this to be this detailed, but this is something that really surprised me the most. Of course, it's not only because this is Libra season, and this is not just about the Libra energy of the relationship of oneself to the other. This is also very reflective of what's going to be coming up, that is a ripple effect that potently started from the full moon in Pisces. And however that energy is spread out, depending on the seed that you planted at that day energetically, around that time energetically, the ripples will expand. And then the waves of that full moon, of course, including the new moon as well. Don't get me wrong. It's not just, the solar eclipse is the same way too, but I'm talking about the lunar eclipse as well, especially the lunar eclipse, since the moon is at its brightest, okay? Things will be illuminated month after month after month, ever since the full moon in Aquarius, the first full moon conjuncting and meeting with Pluto, and all at the same time, the Plutonian placement in Aquarius will never move back to Capricorn. So this is the first full moon, not just for Aquarius, and I don't mean to bring my sign up like that. I swear it's not because Aquariuses are my favorites. There's no favoritism in this channel. But since it's the first full moon with Pluto officially being in the sign of Aquarius, after that season and after the 8-day portal, which I choose to assume it to be real, especially since so many people assume it to be real anyways, it must be in some way energetically tangible. You could agree with me or not. Anyways. But we experienced one of the most potent freaking moons of all time of this entire year. And you know exactly what the hell happened. What the hell happened since Virgo season, okay? I'm not going to get into it. If you know, you know. If you don't, search it up. Go on YouTube. Have a quick dive in. Maybe watch somebody that you feel is authentic and most informative to you, and you will know what the hell I'm talking about. And then now we're at this point where it's not just the new moon in Virgo, aka the solar eclipse. Then we're going to get to the full moon in Aries after, and then we will be led to what I assume will be the new moon in Libra. Okay? And for the full, because there's something particular about this full moon, not just this new moon, let me just be real. Hi, chicken. But that's a message right there too. There's an emphasis on this message, especially that I'm going to bring up. It's also this next full moon that is going to be conjunct, probably I think for the first time. I could be wrong, but it will be conjunct for the first time with Neptune in the same sign, rather than it being in Pisces. So it's not just one ultimate chapter that just opened in Leo season. It's not just one other, especially very potent chapter that came through in Virgo season. It's going to keep going. The energy, the heightened energy, the peak is going to keep going. And there is this huge emphasis on considering not just you, not just your partner, your wife, husband, your co-workers, your even enemies whatsoever. It's everybody. Everybody. And look, I never picked up a message like that before. But overall, like, there's something about the relationship and the connection between ourselves and with other people that, unlike the past many years that took place with Pluto and Capricorn, there's something about this energy this time that is, I don't want to say it's sextiling. I think that, like, there's a better word for it, but it's, chicken, what are you doing? I assume he wants me to change the channel, so I will do that. But this, just like the other full moons and new moons that are going to be taking place, it's something about Pluto that has a huge role in this entire narrative that's taking place so far. And since this is also going to be like another full moon, you know what I mean? The patterns are patterning, okay? So keep everything in mind, and if this meditation, especially in the book, resonates with you, definitely get into that. I encourage you of that, or I encourage you to do whatever it is that you feel the most convicted that certain technique will not just help your mind become balanced, but that you'll be able to at least have more clarity within yourself, more lightness within yourself. Because this season, especially if you don't pick it up, if you don't pick up with your responsibilities, especially the end of Virgo season, you're entering into Libra season either with excitement, but that is like overwhelming, but like in a really amazing way, especially when you set yourself up for it. But it can also be a very, Yeah. Yeah. It could be the opposite of that. It could. Or it could be both. It doesn't matter. It depends on your intentions. It depends on what you choose to believe at the end of the day. It's all on you. Okay? Besides it being all on other people, but except the children, which we should be fair about the fact that, us as adults, especially millennials, especially zillennials, millennials, especially the younger ones like me, the 94 babies, especially the early 90s babies, not the late 90s babies, but it could be the late 90s babies too, okay? I know a lot of you are like, we are not the new adults. Guess what? We are. We are the new adults, but this is deeper than that. We are the new set of people that it is required of us to carry the baton of this energy in whatever way that we can. Because the state of the world that we're in right now, whether it reflects a state within you or whether it reflects a state in the roots of what has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, this is a powerful opportunity to take hold of that energy, not just of responsibility, what you do with your day-to-day life, but it's also your responsibility on how you connect with your heart, with yourself, and with other people. No matter what age, no matter what race, no matter what class, no matter what belief, no matter what group, no matter what, blood related or not. I don't care. Okay? That should not matter. There's no bounds to this energy, okay? The only bounds are if it's going to cost your energy. And that you have to be so mindful about it. And it's not just your energy and your thoughts anymore. This is how you breathe. This is how you express yourself and shoot, like smiling, like what is mentioned in the book, walking. There's something about walking. Like, even if you don't have the time to walk, just walk around the house. Allow your body to wander in different ways that you mentally, even for some of you may mentally think it's not as exciting, but when you connect to your mind with your body the moment you do it, you will understand why your body has been feeling the way it's feeling, which then encourages you to get deeper into this mindfulness. Because what we really freaking need right now, besides us all, being in the best dimension of all dimensions, which really what it takes is to be the best version of ourselves that is written in our lives, whether we like some of the parts of that version of the best version of ourselves or whether we don't like those parts either. Other than that, I was going to continue with the rest of the message, but I think with the chicken above me and with evidently the blankness of like the message, just however you feel like the rest of the message is going to, be summarized after everything I said, whatever conclusion come into your own mind after everything I said and forgot about, take that message with you. Because at the end of the day, not all messages are a one size fits all. It just depends on your perspective. It depends on your state at the end of the day. It always does. But anyways, happy Libra season. I love my Libras. I love you guys so much. One of my favorite air signs. In fact, one of my favorite signs. Oh no, I said I was not going to get into the favoritism, but I can't help it. I can't help it. My partner is a Libra, okay? Just the Libras, oh my God. If I could write like just like the Aries women, but like for Libras especially the Libras, I could straight up write a whole essay about why Libra women especially, are such amazing people, such amazing people to have in your lives. Thank you so much for, and especially for through the Libra energy specifically. Thank you for teaching us the the importance of balancing your own scales. And it's not just, oh, balancing your life, balancing your communication with people. No, this is balancing out also the energies that you are integrated with, interweave with everybody else, to that currently there's a lot of disruptive waters right now. But you know, the Libra energy teaches us so much about harmonizing that frequency out. And sometimes it takes 100 people, sometimes it takes way more than 100 people. I don't know why I said that. But your vibration affects not just the vibration of your home, the space, the people around you as well. So take that to major consideration, and take everything to major consideration, because the fact that I chose this book days before everything that happened on the news, I feel the call to say this. The next 6 months, that message that talked about the next several months, I think this is the next 6 months until spring of 2026 for Aries season. Whatever specific message that is laid out that talked about the several months part, that is especially applied, based on my intuition, that's especially applied for what's going to be taking place in the next 6 months. So take note that this reading is not just a reading for the entire season. It's not just for the full and new moon, or new moons, I would say. I would say new moon and full moon. It's not just that. It's also, it's not even just the hours within your day-to-day life. I don't know why the hour timeline showed up in that reading. It's also the next more than a couple months. Okay? So I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for participating in my class. And have yourselves a beautiful, wonderful Libra season. And I will see you in the next one. All right. Bye.